We got Metamucil or not many, what is it called? Miralax. And so
Oh,
there's like on a routine of Miralax or whatever. But then she's all worried now because she heard that like if you take it too much, it could deplete your body of minerals and
oh,
vitamins and stuff like that. And then she
yeah.
thinks that's why she's tired.
No, that won't do it. What is that? Magnesium citrate certainly will do that.
Yeah, but I was trying to get into my game phase, and all of a sudden I hear like diarrhea and poop.
The magnesium citrate, you'll find bubble gum that you swallowed in fourth grade.
I found a ring the other day.
Welcome to Skol Chat with Skoda. We are a chat group created by four guys who are a blended family, not only through the traditional familial means, but also for the love of the game, specifically for our favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. We won't claim to be professionals, nor will we cover a lot of stats unless it is specific to the topics we'll be discussing. We are just four fans who get together to basically discuss all aspects of the team, from games, training, releases, signings, and the overall organization itself. Our name is derived from two of us who currently reside in Minnesota, and two of whom reside deep within Packer territory. This is not our livelihood, as we, like many of you, have busy lives, and what we hope to obtain are additions to our blended family by having you become a part of it. We have room to add a couple of you at a time during our errands and would like you to join us in our chat. As with any family, there will be happy times and sad times to be discussed and experienced. Although the game may only last a season, the desire for the game and the team is year-long. If you want to join us, please hit the subscribe button, follow us on YouTube, and give us either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on your experience, and leave us a comment. If you'd like to join us during the show, contact us at the email link provided below.
Welcome to Skol Chat 33. This week, we're going to talk about the ongoing quarterback conversation. We're going to talk about the NFL Combine. It's starting as we record this on Wednesday. It's going to be starting tomorrow. We'll talk about some recaps of some like mock drafts that are being put out by some people in the know. And then we'll kind of roll into some potential first round picks that are being talked about. And then we'll finish up with some funny memes I found. Before we get too far into it, if you like what you see here, like, subscribe. We have some shorts on the YouTube Shorts page or our page. I think the last one didn't do too swell. I think we had 115 views. Just gotta find the right content and find the right day and time to post it. I don't know. We just keep doing what we're doing. Also posted on Spotify. I got excited. I saw that we had a follower, but then I realized it was me. Can't really get too excited about that. But on a more kind of a somber note here, Rondale Moore was going to be a free agent, passed away at the age of 25. And I kind of made a note of it or talked about it or brought it up before we started recording that sometimes you forget the players are people, and you kind of lose sight of that. I know I do myself and kind of maybe too rough on some guys. And yeah, of course you gotta, NFL is a business, right? And that's what they think about. How they have to think head coaches, from the head coaches on up to the, people in the front office.
Yep.
It's been fortunate. He was like everyone was saying, it sounded like his rehab was just unfortunate circumstances, I think.
Yeah, I think that last injury took a toll on him.
Yeah, and like, we talk about giving up on players too early sometimes. I mean, think about Robert Smith. He tore his ACL, MCL his first few seasons in the league. I know that he had at least a couple of knee injuries. I mean, if it were up to me, I'm like, I think in the fourth or fifth year, I was like, why is this guy still on the team? And all of a sudden he turned into an all-pro running backs. Sometimes it's luck.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, he had a lot of guys that, were rooting for him too, make sure he keeps on track of his goal as far as what he wanted to do.
Well, the thing is, how many former teammates and the teammates, all together, some of them said that they keep in touch with them in that, by vaccine or whatever. But the bottom line is, I think the poor guy, being injured 2 years in a row and 2 years of playing. And, I'm pretty sure even though his rehab and all that was going good, whatever, I think the mental side got to him, even question himself. That's what I probably would think the same thing. Anyway, the bottom line is ended up in a dark place, and it's sad to hear about him uh, being as young as he is, and like you said, Joe, players are human. I know they got, you know, I see that, they're human. And, I guess we all make the mistake or whatever. That player, has been injured and I don't think he's going to turn out good or not going to, anyways. So you kind of make you double think about what you want to say about a player, that's been injury prone, not their own doings. So bottom line is my condolences go out to his family and friends.
Absolutely.
And I guess we'll kind of see if the Vikings, I mean, even though he technically wasn't a Viking still, we'll see if they do any type of dedication, for next season. Anything else before we move on?
No, I think we got it covered there.
All right. And so I noticed, and we kind of talked about it a bit beforehand, but I noticed that there's still a discussion about the Vikings quarterback decision, for the next season coming up. There's a article on the NFL.com by some fella named, what's his name? Never heard of him, but Grant Gordon. And he's just kind of talking about the Vikings are going to just talks about their mindset, I guess, and what they think or what he thinks is going on behind the scenes. The funny thing is, I'm trying to click and find the article now, and I can't find it. So, yes, the Vikings are going to explore every opportunity at quarterback this offseason, but JJ is still going to be in the mix. But then I've also seen other people, throw it out there that JJ might be traded. So,
Yeah, even if I heard that.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Watch with Paul Allen, O'Connell, and the cap guy, his name, I can't pronounce it. Yeah. Anyways, they did say they were looking into quarterback to compete with McCarthy. And O'Connell went as far as saying that, in fact, right now, as he said it, I think it was yesterday, that McCarthy was out in California working with his coach and other people to work on what he needed to improve on, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, the question was brought up about what about are they thinking about re-signing Carson Wentz? O'Connell said that looking into possibility. In fact, he gave praise to Wentz coming in. Only a week before the season opener, and didn't really have. Well, he didn't have the you know OTAs and training camp. And, then he went in, what game was it? The Bengals game, or was it after that? I can't remember. But anyways, then bottom line is they're trying to find or look for a veteran quarterback to compete with McCarthy.
I mean, it
They're
would be
not.
pretty easy.
They're going
Just
to still work with McCarthy, even if the veterans beat out McCarthy, during training camp and that, he would be there working on whatever. They're not giving up on McCarthy the way both O'Connell and Rob was saying.
Well, I just think like a lot of times, like, in politics and business, a lot of times when there's stuff in the news, you kind of got to read between the lines and figure out like what's true here and what's the reasoning. Why is this in the news? And for them to kind of like talk about like, and again, it could be from the decisions made before the end, during the off season last year. But it seems like they're kind of pushing McCarthy a little bit towards the back of the bus a bit, or trying to almost throwing him underneath the bus. And
Yeah.
that's what it just seems to me. And are they like a lot of times like the teams will do this type of stuff if they're gonna like draft another quarterback, or if they're gonna make a big signing, or maybe do a trade for somebody. So again, though, that's what I'm talking about. We gotta kind of have to read between the lines. Is it just people writing stuff to get clicks?
it could be.
Are there anonymous sources, people within the organization putting stuff out there? I mean, again, it's just gotta, in my opinion, they're going to keep McCarthy. They're trying to develop him, but they're going to sign a quarterback. They're not going to trade. It's got to be within their budget, right? Because we talked about it, and then we'll kind of talk as we get along in the podcast here, which I didn't realize that free agency starts as soon as it does. But the salary cap's got to be figured out. And I wonder how the free agency, signing a quarterback is going to work when they don't even have their salary cap figured.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what the whole thing is about it. That's what Rob talked about is, got to take care of the players they do have now, make their decision and come up. And anyways, and find a veteran that would be available and that come in and, they're not going to go crazy with, signing, whatever big contract for that. I don't think, they, you got the cap guy, the money guy there, he's been with the Vikings for 27 years out of their 33 years in the league, so, I think the bottom line is got the ownership, what their vision is, what they want, would like to see and whatever. So I think the whole organization is buckling down and really gonna, go through every detail of every one, and then what it's gonna cost. They're not gonna go out and spend this and that, So I don't know. The bottom line is we'll have to wait and see what they do, right?
yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
they've
think
had.
they're going to make a cash trade for Burrows. Yeah,
I think they
I
might
hope
give
not.
Burrows.
draft
They got
pick, take on his contract, and I don't think they're going to go as far as even if Murray is released by the Cardinals, whatever. I don't think they're going to go and trade for him. If not, and whatever, pay him what he's getting. That's idiotic. If you're looking at your cap and what you want to do is build your team, you got to have money to pay your draft picks.
I mean, there's even Kirk Cousin in the works.
Well, I know we
Well-
kind of talked about the last podcast is that, I was at the time like, oh yeah, Kirk Cousins, but there's been talk that he might even be out of their price range.
Really?
And I know that, a lot of people were getting excited about Malik Willis, the former Packer. It
Well,
sounds
he's
like he
still
might-
under contract.
Yeah, what if we take
According
him
to what I
on?
see is he's
Well, somebody was saying he was still under contract with Green
Oh.
Bay.
I'm looking at Pro Football Focus right now, and they're saying they have him ranked as the number one option.
Do they? Okay, maybe it changed. But I do know it was mentioned by the GM of the Falcons that the league year opens, that's around the time, release players and whatever that. Anyway, the bottom line is he said that they plan on releasing Cousin at that point. So it might end up being the same deal as Wilson and Rodgers. Maybe the Vikings can persuade Cousin to come in on
Possible.
maybe
They
a
said that they're-
backup pay for a quarterback. Just bring him in. Who knows?
They said Aaron Rodgers is supposed to give him an answer whether he wants to join the Vikings or not mid-March. That may be a rumor, but I don't know.
I don't know. Who's throwing this stuff out? Where is the deal coming from about Rodgers?
I think it's Adam Schefter for
Oh, really?
lines. I think it was him. I think that's who somebody attributed it to.
Yeah, with the Rodgers speculation, yeah, I think it was Schefter.
They said Joe was coming to the Vikings for sure. They said they were still waiting on an answer from Aaron until, like I said, mid-March.
Joe who?
Burrow.
No. They can't
Yeah.
afford him.
We can't.
If you just give JJ to the Packers, I mean, guarantee a win against the Packers all season.
I'm gonna stay with Love.
Just for I mean, we can't even give up on Max Brosmer, which he didn't play very well, but he played more than our starting quarterback did. But they're already putting him as a third string, like he's going to camp out very long. He's not going to camp out very long if he's going to be sitting on third string.
Don't talk about his son that way. About ready to
Wow.
lose.
I
it.
didn't
Jesus
mean to.
cool. You watch your foul mouth. You watch your foul mouth, you pumpkin pie haircutted freak. You shut your mouth at the beginning. I need to start doing that for the titles of the episodes. Just starts just random crap in there, like half the other people that post videos do.
Wait a minute. It wasn't random. It was quarterback possibilities.
You're right. I mean, anything's possible.
Well, anything's
Joe
possible.
Namath
Hey,
joining the team.
the point is, if they bring in a veteran, compete with JJ. If the veteran beats out JJ by the coach's size, the veteran would be the starter and McCarthy would be a backup every game, work, going through practice, everything else, So, no, he will not be a third stringer.
I was saying Brosmer is going to be the third stringer. I mean, if we take on a veteran to,
Yeah.
match JJ, we're going to have to play Brosmer because our veteran's going to be hurt 3/4 of the season or half the season, and JJ's going to be hurt the other half, so we're going to have to play Brosmer.
Oh boy.
Well, okay, if you go half and half, what games did he gonna play in then?
I don't know.
Depends on where they are and what week of the season. We only know the opponents. We don't know the
Depends on the O-line.
Minnesota Moving Company, according to Paul Allen. Well, and like I said, like it seems like every couple of weeks I change my mind. I mean, I don't. So, like I said, Malik Willis, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, he's going to sign probably with the Colts. We're going to keep him. Or if he signs elsewhere, it's going to be more than the Vikings can match. I mean, there's other teams like the Raiders, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Browns. Always the Browns. The Colts. I kind of mentioned the Colts probably will keep Jones, but then the Steelers and Cardinals. Those are the teams that are expected to have new quarterbacks next year.
Who does Cardinals have?
Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I why would they want to get rid of him? I thought he was doing fairly well.
He did his first couple of years, but he's kind of regressed. But I think his first couple of years, I think the offensive system and the coordinator helped him out.
Well, then too, they have had issues with receivers and also the O-line and whatever. But the thing is, why would you want Murray? Because yeah, he's got the arm strength, but there have been times that he overthrows his receivers. He gets wild. So you take, say if you want to say McCarthy is worse and Murray is bad, instead of going bad to worse, you go worse to bad, So
Yeah.
it's one or the other.
I'm not on the Murray train myself.
And Willis, okay. Sure, he played good when he jumped in for Love, but how many games has he actually played since he came into the league?
For Love?
He's only played-
he was good during them games for the Packers, but prior to that, who did he? Who drafted him? Wasn't it the Jaguars?
I honestly don't know, Daniel.
I don't remember. He didn't do so well there.
No, I think JJ will definitely come around, Daniel.
Well, even Jefferson said that during the offseason, get together with JJ and work on the connection between the two of them.
Right, like we said, he should have been out there from the start, not playing it off like you know it all. I understand how he came from, his college winning streak. Granted, he also had past injuries there, but he should have been out there practicing, getting connected with the rest of the players just so they were ready for opening season.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Malik Willis, he was drafted by the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
And he's really played maybe 9 to 10 games worth of snaps in the NFL.
That's it.
So, roughly the same as JJ at this point. So, like I said, I mean, I think, I hate to say it, Bird Bones might, if he decides to play,
Bird Bones.
He's cheering for Bird Bones. The second coming of Brett Favre, but I don't know. Because, you're going to be bringing in a veteran to start, right? And I guess your other options are Russell Wilson. Exactly. Marcus Mariota, Tyler
Same
Huntley.
thing. Crazy old man. Yeah, I mean, young man, yeah.
Tyler Huntley, Tyrod Taylor, Kenny Pickett, and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Don't forget David Carr.
Well, at this point, he's retired
coming
still,
out of
right?
retirement. But, okay, there you go. If Arizona let go of Murray, why go to Arizona or to the Browns?
He's talking about wanting to come to a team. I think David Carr's just. I mean, I think him coming out of retirement is going to be based on the team that would sign him. I don't know if he. Again, I mean, there's some
Trade you
Vikings. What's that?
you would have to uh, make a trade for him with the Saints because he's still under contract with the Saints when he retired.
Is he still? Like I said, I don't think they're trading anything.
No, either. That's why.
You to tell me
I'll-
who you think? Who do you think they're going to have?
Well, my opinion, I think if Cousin does get released and if he's willing not to go for the pot and willing to sign on, even if it's only a year, maybe 2 years, for backup rate, what that's going for. What is it? Anywhere between 10 and 50. But if Cousin does go that route, he'll want the guarantee, so he'll get it right then and there,
I can see, and like I guess Well, no, I was just gonna say that like, if say JJ goes down, right, or say whoever comes in as a starter, are you confident that like Kirk Cousins, we saw him with the Vikings, are we comfortable with him as quarterback trying to lead us to the playoffs?
To be honest with you, I think Cousin be a better option than Aaron Rodgers.
I think so
Aaron
too.
Rodgers in his 40s. Cousin is still in his 30s.
I saw a lot of comparisons between Tom Brady at 43 and Aaron Rodgers going to be 43 next year.
There's no comparison.
Whoa.
Maybe
You can throw the ball.
who was at Tampa Bay, maybe he wasn't going so hot.
Well, that's where he was. He was in Tampa Bay when he was 43, and that was the comparison because he wasn't slinging it like he was back when he was with the Patriots.
Right. But, even Rodgers, sure, the Steelers, well, they didn't quite make the playoffs. And yeah, they won some games in that, but, you can't count on Rodgers because, yeah, he would do these 5-yard, maybe up to 10-yard dunk passes. Yeah, every now and then he would chuck it down the field. And in fact, a comment was made and was surprised to see Rodgers throwing a deep ball because he was having problems tossing it that far, during the season. But anyways, yeah,
Wentz wasn't throwing very many darts down the field. He had quite a few ducks. John, what do you think? I don't think you weighed in when we had this discussion the last time, did you?
Quarterback?
Yeah, and you thought like if you had somebody say, "Hey, you got to make a decision. Who are we bringing in?"
Yeah, I mean, I would, say out of all the choices that were named, I would have to say myself the top two would be Cousins and Rod, as far as the experience and everything else and familiarity. Regardless of whoever we get, that O-line's got to be fixed. Even if, with backups, some better backups on some of the positions, just because of, the way it went last year.
Well, definitely got to get a center.
Yep, that definitely has to be shored up there.
And when Kelly was in there, they played pretty good. But
yeah, very small sample size.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, the center, then hopefully the tackles, so, be able to play.
Hopefully, stay healthy though. Both of them the whole season.
Yeah.
Right.
Who is the big center that's on the market that will be out of the
Menard or it starts with the B.
Linderbaum, Tyler Linden, market value of $17 million.
Yeah, I don't know. They would have to do a lot of. Come to find out too, the restructure of contracts, there was put out in order to shuffle the cap around, and that the bottom line is still got to pay it one way or the other.
Well, if they convert it to a bonus or signing bonus, it doesn't come from the cap. It's something with the signing bonus, and that's what we've done a lot of in the past was pay a large chunk of the signing bonus so you're able to keep the life of the contract lower.
Yeah.
To anything. So we got between Rodgers and Cousins is probably sounds like leader of the pack. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I would even go as far before Rodgers. I would go Wentz. If Wentz had the whole spring training and training camp, I think he would do a better job, along with a better O-line.
I think Cousins, Rodgers still knows how to run the run an offense, and he knows what's going on. He can read a defense.
Yeah.
Still not comfortable with Wentz being able to read the defense very well.
He can see what's going to happen before it happens and try and counteract.
And now that, Wentz is longer in the tooth, he doesn't have that, he's not as fast as he used to be. He's not as mobile. He's kind of, when he was with the Eagles, that's what he, that MVP season he almost had before they won the Super Bowl and, before he injured his knee. It was a lot of his mobility. They're running a lot of, read pass options.
You talk about mobility. Rodgers doesn't have much there anymore like he used to.
That's the point.
If he's doing.
I was just saying that you need to be able to read a defense if you're not able to be as athletic as you.
Okay, gotcha.
Rodgers does have pocket presence still. He's able to move in the pocket a bit, able to extend plays a little bit longer. And that was what I always hated when Rodgers was with the Packers. He's not fast. He's just able to move in the pocket and just stay away from the people trying to bring him down.
But go ahead, John.
I was going to say the only thing would be after our receivers would have to get used to him giving that stare down, regardless whether the ball was catchable or not.
That's one thing, and another thing is would he be disrupted, if I use the right word, in the locker room, and also with O'Connell, because Rodgers got a tendency to, I'm the quarterback, I'll call what I want to call for type addict.
Johnny Unitas used to call his own plays the whole game.
A lot of the old-time quarterbacks used to call the...
Well, that's what Peyton Manning called his own plays. I mean, I'd say a majority of them because he was always audibling and Omaha.
Yep.
Omaha State.
Better frozen. All right, let's move on. So, NFL Combine, it's going to be starting tomorrow. I just think that it's interesting, right? So it's a bunch of people that come in there, they weigh them, they measure them, they do a bunch of drills, and we've seen in the past. I mean, players, like how they perform at the combine, their stock rises in the draft.
Yeah.
Maybe they get drafted above where they should. So sometimes teams overvalue it. Sometimes the performance just kind of solidifies it, and some teams' minds. This guy's a good draft pick. I can draft him because he's this fast. He weighs this much. He's this strong. They still, though, it's just a bunch of guys in their underwear. It's like a cattle. What is it, a cattle call, or what do they call it? I don't know. I don't sell cows, so I don't know.
Auction.
Something like that. Like talking about like players in the past that were drafted based off their combine performance, like Tony Mandridge back in the day. Was it Mandridge? The offensive lineman for the Packers, Steroid Tommy, Steroid Tony. I mean, he's the poster child for that, for getting drafted, and he shouldn't have been. He never had the talent. He just posted some good numbers. But then Jerick McKinnon for the Vikings, before the combine, he was being slated to be a 5th round pick, and then he blew up at the combine and moved up to the 3rd round where the Vikings drafted him. So we can't really talk about it, but I think it's just funny to think about. Anybody have any thoughts on the combine or any players they've heard about that would be interested to see?
I haven't really.
There's a list of them, and I hear the names. Unfortunately, my eyes are at the point it's hard for me to read some, prints. I gotta practically blow up the screen in order to read, anything. And then, of course, that good stuff. So I'm bad at names. Unless I sit and listen to something and it's repeated, then I can remember it. But once or twice, it kind of goes, But
it happens.
But the thing is about the combine, the question is, do the scouts, coaches, whatever, what are they really using for it? Because like you said, Joe, they're out there running around in shorts and tank tops and whatever. Yeah, they do the 40, and that's always seemed to be the biggest thing about how fast someone can run straight line, And so in a way it helps some to determine the speed of the player, but the actual speed on the field is what they compare the two to. And then, but like the 3-cone and all that is mobility, agility, and whatever, and broad jump and high jump is measured primarily for the get off power or whatever in the jump, that's used in the evaluation and that. But, some of the other stuff,
Well, I think, like the 40 times, the shuttle times, vertical jump, those are helpful. A lot of times they like watching quarterbacks throw, if the quarterback chooses to. A lot of the higher up quarterbacks are, are supposed to be, drafted high up. Sometimes sometimes they choose not to because it can hurt their draft stock more and help it.
Well, what's his name? The top quarterback for this year draft, he's not there. He choose not. Well, he might be there, but he choose not to do any of the.
I think you have to at least go there and be. And they use it. They use the player interviews, the side of the interviews. So that's helpful. I think it's just really a lot of the NFL controlling how the teams interact with the draft picks. Pre-internet era, maybe the combine was helpful, but now that every team has access to these players' film, and I don't know if it's needed anymore.
Well, the thing is,
high school and college.
Yeah, but these 15 minutes interview with the players, it's supposed to be get to know the player. Well, the bottom line is nowadays, these guys coming out of college, their agent built them up how they answer this question, next question, and whatever. And are the coaches, are the GMs, are they getting a real person talking, or is it the scripted answers, So a lot of times when, like the scouts, when they watch players that are interesting or that might fit the team, whatever, they personally talk to the players and go to the coaches and whatever. And they're not getting coached up by the agents once they start entering the draft. So I don't know. Is it really?
To me, that some of that should be taken care of in the pre-draft workouts that they do with some of these guys, that they're interested in. They should be, be able to address a lot more in those.
Yeah, you're talking about
when they bring guys in pre-draft,
the 30, whatever they call it, where players come to the team facilities. And,
for their upper guys, they're trying to get, that should be being used for digging a little deeper.
Yeah, you get more, you spend more time with and get more of a feel. And I know that's what they do. But then some of it just smoke screen because everybody's hearing, well, this prospect went to the Vikings and whatever. And there was some players that never was invited to the 30 whatever workout or whatever, and they ended up getting drafted. And it was like, okay, they didn't show up for the 30 or wasn't invited. Well, the team is not interested in that.
I think
they are.
Before they drafted Harrison Smith, they didn't even meet with him.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the crazy questions they ask him in the player interviews?
Not really.
How many ways can you use a brick in a minute? Like you get a minute, how many different ways can you use a brick? What's your murder weapon of choice?
Real.
You're on a bus in Alaska going 100 miles an hour. Where are you sitting?
No shit.
Briefed, which it's not on the list here, but why do you hit your girlfriend? That's the guy's gonna assume that he hits your girlfriend.
But why you hit your girlfriend maybe is just to see if they're a violent person off the field. And if the person or the player gives you that look, oh, did you know that? Type look, what? Or go by the facial expression and whatever, and
that's what it is. It's psychological, right? So they're just trying to get a read on them. Just talk to the person. Why are you asking, what's your murder weapon of choice? Share your internet browsing history with me.
They want to know if you're crazy or not. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Maybe, was it Hernandez? What's his name with the Patriots? The tight end? Aaron Hernandez. Maybe they should have asked him that. Maybe he probably told them. Anyway,
They probably needed to make it through the interview.
probably pulled down his pants in the middle of it. That's my kind of player. All right, we'll move on. Anybody else have anything else to talk about the combine? I just thought it was kind of interesting to talk about since, I mean, I don't know how useful it is anymore, but that's debatable, right? I haven't seen very many mock drafts. I saw Bucky Brook put out his last one this week, or the latest one.
Well, I think it was Charles Davis put one out, and he put what's his name, the running back, the top running back.
He thinks he's going to fall to the 18th pick?
Yeah, he falls to the 10th, and the Vikings drafted him according to his mock draft. What's something if he drops, even if he drops down to 16 or whatever, the Vikings can trade up a couple spots for him, you know? Depending on who the team is at number 16, I don't have a clue. But that would be awesome.
I think so. I mean, that'd be I guess haven't seen much game tape, haven't seen him play, so I don't know.
Well, what I heard, he's one hell of a running back, and he's also can put him out there. What is it called? The wide receiver position, whatever, so yeah.
Runner outs. I mean, yeah, that'd be good.
Also, I think he can pass block too.
So he didn't watch Adrian Peterson blocking film.
I don't know it.
That's what you shouldn't show somebody if you're trying to teach them to pass block running back. Well, that'd be awesome. I mean, I know that, like I said, Bucky Brooks said that we'll get Emmanuel McNeil Warren. He's a safety, which he's one of the, I think he's the second highest rated safety on the board, according to Lance Zerline, who does the grading. But he says he's not graded as an immediate starter, but would turn into a starter. I'm not sure if you want to draft a first round player that's not going to be a starter.
Right.
That.
Yeah. No, not for those positions.
Well, that's the thing is he really actually, I think part of it is what I heard about him is the system that he was playing in. I can't remember the whole details. It had to do something that needed a little bit of more time to develop, I guess, or whatever. And if Harrison Smith retires, that's kind of late, or, I don't know. But then I heard another guy that the Vikings could draft, like in the second or third round, that's a safety, and he does basically go all over the field, play different positions,
Who was that?
God, I can't remember his name. I
Was
know
Dylan Cinnamon?
something like that. Yeah.
Sounds like Cinnamon, if you're saying Cinnamon, if you have a list. No, I saw him noted, but McNeil, the guy we talked about that Bucky Brooks, that's his pros is that he plays well at the line of scrimmage, but his con is that he's not a great coverage guy at this point.
Yeah, that's right. That's what, yeah.
So obviously that's, depending on where Harrison Smith, it really depended on the game. I mean, towards the end of the season, he was really playing at the line of scrimmage. I think they found something that worked. That, against the Lions, he really played well. And I saw Dylan Thieneman. It's Thieneman, not Thieneman. Thieneman. Just really flexible. He's played for Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, he's not great in man-to-man coverage, but you're not really having your safeties run man coverage very often, I guess, other than against tight ends occasionally or running backs. Deke, he's a tight end, played at Oregon too. They call him, he's kind of a thumper. Doesn't have the height as much as, like, say, Hawkinson. He's only, I don't know, 6'2".
Yeah.
He's the playmaker. So it's just another, flexibility. But he tries. He has effort in the blocking game, but he's not the best blocker. But again, if you're having a pass-catching tight end, you're not going to ask him to block too much, which, again, if he falls to the Vikings at 18, I mean, that'd be a good, decent pickup too. And then a corner that they have slotted or been brought up is Brandon Siss. He played for South Carolina. And he's a taller corner. He's around 6 foot, but he's fairly athletic. But he's grabby.
Yeah.
Who did we have that was a taller corner that was grabby?
Rhodes.
Xavier Rhodes. Yeah. So that's what people kind of say. It's just watching him play. That's kind of what he reminds people of. So, which if he can learn not to be grabby, then that'd be a good pick, at least for the first 6 years of his career, and then kind of tail off pretty quickly. Any other players mentioned that caught your interest?
Well, there was a couple top-ranked receivers. I can't remember their names now. One that Thor talked about would be a nice pick. He'd be dropped to 18, but he doesn't think he would drop that far. Probably be drafted within the top 10 or 15, you know. But if I
Carnell Tate.
can do the routes, but, downfield speed and whatever is, I don't remember right offhand. I just tried to, like I said, I try to listen to the different draft prospects that are thrown out there that might be a good fit for the Vikings. Well, sometimes I kind of miss the name, what.
You almost got to keep a list and write them down and then go back and start watching the film on YouTube. If you're doing this, pre-combine, after the combine, you'll kind of see the guys that, performed well, and then they'll start picking up some speed or steam. And then there'll be a lot more mock drafts where you'll start remembering names more because like you said, you'll start hearing them more often. But then again, then we start thinking of what we're talking about, do we draft for need or we draft for best player available, like the best player on the board? I think too often we draft for the need and not just this guy is the best player out here. We got to draft him regardless of who we have on our roster. This guy.
Yep.
Right. I think that's a goal for the comment was made. Not going to reach, not going to, whatever. And they're working on drafting by, where the players are rated and if it ended up being the best player available for whatever, regardless if it'll be a corner, a safety, a guard, or center or receiver, or even they'd probably add a draft a running back because although O'Connell likes Aaron Jones, I don't think what is the cap hit with him 14 mil.
It's up there, so
Is it that
if
high?
we're to keep them, they'd have, like we talked about it. I think we talked about it. I'm not sure, but it's towards the, I think before the end of the season, we're talking about what structures they'd have to do. So yeah, it was pretty high up there.
Yeah,
There's quite a few guys they're talking about, possibly getting rid of just due to their cap and where they're at.
Yeah.
Well, and plus hasn't been healthy the full season. I mean, very often in his career. And last year he was hurt a lot, but he's tough. He wants to play. He just is unable to.
Right.
And he does make a difference when he's on the field. You can tell the difference in the Vikings offense. He adds a bit of a spark, just being able to catch and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if it had better O-line, then he could gain some yardage. But see, here's the deal, they should draft other running back. And the draft class, the running backs, there are a number of them out there. Granted, you got different levels where they're at, on the draft board. But,
Looks like two.
Yep.
Got the speed, you got the power, and you also got the receiving abilities. But anyway, my point is to agree with you that they ought to draft, and I think they ought to draft the best player available, regardless of what position,
Yeah, and they can, I think I think it changes, right? Earlier in the draft, and that's what it should be. You're trying to find the best player in the draft. That if you're picking at 18, the best player on the board should be this guy. Not I need a center, so I'm going to pick this guy, or I need a safety, I'm going to pick this guy. And then later in the draft, you're going to fill out your roster with position needs, right? I think it's easier to do that. And I heard a couple of interviews with Brzezinski, and what he kept saying was stacking good decisions on top of each other. And I think that was like a subtle dig at Kwesi. Not doing a good job of stacking good decisions on top of each other. But again, we'll see more. We'll hear more after the combine. We'll see. I mean, like we talked about, some guys decide not to do certain drills, and if Jeremiah Love doesn't run the 40, then we're not going to know. That'd be good though if he dropped to us, because I'm pretty sure he'd be a decent pick. Anything else before we move on to the best part of the podcast?
No, I think we wrapped her up there.
All right. So the memes, and you talked about him earlier. Mendoza, this is probably the top rated quarterback in the draft. And darn it, the logo's in the way. But So this is his face right after somebody told him he's going to be playing for the Raiders next year.
The Raiders.
So he was all happy at the end of the championship game, and then they said, "You're playing for the Raiders," and he started crying.
What, did he grow up being a Raider fan?
I don't know. It's just because they have the first pick.
Yeah, I know. I was
Oh.
just being facetious about the deal. If he started crying, like, my favorite team.
No, he's crying because he has to play for them. So, when I go to the Vikings game, like I bought a Vikings sweatshirt. I bought a Vikings hat. Rob Lowe. Do you know who Rob Lowe is?
Yeah.
I'm a Vikings fan. Rob Lowe he's a fan of the NFL. I mean, that's real. That's not Photoshop. Like, I wonder what game he went to. It's like, I'm going to wear this NFL hat because I don't like the team so much, just the NFL as a whole.
Yep. He's never fucking leaving. He's going to be there for all-time fan.
His team never loses.
What were you saying? Do you remember my mom tried telling us we were related to this guy?
Yeah.
I doubt that. But anyways.
You kind of look alike.
No, Tom, you're going to get excited. Hopefully you don't get too excited.
Oh,
it's
boy.
a family show. But here's the Cowboys walking out.
Oh,
Got some strong ankles, I can tell you that, with those hills.
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried about where you're searching to find this kind of shenanigans. I think you may be a little more excited than I am.
The funny thing is I found this one, and it just reminds me of something like we'd say back in like when I was in high school or like in the mid 2000s. Like, this is what the inside of a gay bar looks like. I mean, that's
God.
So maybe I was on the
You need to
NFL
put
gay
that in your office,
site
Tom.
or gay fan site.
You need to hang that one in your office, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I might not have it all.
so this is Dad and I after the Vikings preseason. They went undefeated. That guy kind of looks like me when I was younger. He's got a nice haircut. I like the cut of his jib.
Boy.
Who was the guy that was the villain in like the Spider-Man movie? What's that guy's name?
I was trying to think of it when I saw that guy's face, too.
Why am I drawing a blank? I'm usually all over this.
That all reminds me of that Joker
guy in
face on
Spider-Man.
the front of that semi on Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, yeah.
That too.
William Dafoe is who I was thinking of. Yeah. Anyways.
I don't know. The guy, none of them got blonde hair.
This guy has blonde hair. But yeah, William Dafoe. There you go.
Well, this guy over here at least kind of reminds me of when I used to wear like a blue T-shirt and blue jeans, So, whoa, what's this?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, if you say so.
Is that guy like on the ground or is he in the air? I don't know. He got some ayahuasca from Aaron Rodgers. The walls are bleeding, man. The walls are bleeding. All right. Anything else or any other thoughts before we end the show? We're gonna get done before 8. I think that's a record for us.
Wow. Zip right on through.
Good
Boy,
start, though.
we got it covered.
I think we do.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well,
One of these days we got to go live.
I'm not sure why we'd want to do that. There's a lot of awkward pauses.
Yeah.
So what? It showed that we're not going by script.
Maybe they think we should go by more of a script. That's what they'll say. This should be scripted.
It's all right.
Curtis, man, I just forgot it. Wasn't important enough to remember.
Uh,
If you like what you see here, like, subscribe. If you want to join us for a podcast, maybe we'll get somebody to join us some maybe next season. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Email us at skolchatwithskoda@gmail.com. It will be in the link in the description below. With that, Skol Vikings.
Yes.
all like.
Let's go.
Let's win the game.
All right.